The promise he broke. The air in the small room was heavy with the smell of antiseptic and old wood. The hospital window rattled softly with each gust of wind, letting in streaks of dusty sunlight that settled on the frail woman lying on the narrow bed. Her breathing was shallow, uneven, like a flame flickering at the edge of going out. Mama, Chidi said softly, clutching her thin hand. You'll get better. I swear I'll find the money for your treatment. Her lips trembled into a tired smile. My son, you've said that before. I mean it this time, he insisted, his eyes glistening. I've spoken to Mr. Okafo. He said he might help me with a job in the city. I'll work day and night if I have to. His mother coughed weakly, the sound echoing in the small ward. You have a good heart, Chidi. Don't let the world change that. Whatever you do, don't forget where you came from. Chidi nodded, squeezing her hand tighter. Never, Mama. She smiled faintly, her eyes closing again. He sat there for a long time, watching her chest rise and fall, promising himself he would never fail her. That night, he walked home through the narrow dirt roads of Umuahia, the moonlight washing over the tin roofs and half-sleeping houses. His stomach was empty, but his heart burned with determination. He had made a vow, one he would keep, no matter what it took. 2 weeks later, Chidi boarded a rusted bus heading to Lagos. The air was thick with sweat, dust, and the chatter of travelers. He carried a small nylon bag, a pair of trousers, a shirt, and his mother's photograph. He found work quickly, thanks to Mr. Okafor's connection as a driver for a rich businessman named Chief Benson. The chief was in his 50s, bald and heavy-set, but his eyes were sharp and cold. Chidi drove him everywhere, from his marble mansion in Lekki to board meetings, parties, and secret rendezvous. He sent money home every 2 weeks, not much, but enough for medicine and food. Mama always called when it arrived. Chidi, my son, she'd say, her voice trembling with joy. God will bless you. I'm feeling stronger. Don't worry, Mama. I'll send more next time, he'd reply, smiling through tears. He worked hard, often sleeping in the car, skipping meals, ignoring insults from the chief's spoiled children. He told himself it was worth it. Every humiliation, every long night on the road was another step towards saving his mother. But Lagos had a way of changing people, slowly, silently, without them realizing. One Friday evening, Chief Benson called him into the parlor. Chidi, he said, puffing on a cigar, you've been loyal. I like that. I need someone like you for more delicate work. Chidi's heart pounded. Yes, sir. There's a contract. You will deliver sealed envelopes, no questions asked. You'll be paid extra. I trust you're not the type to talk too much. Chidi hesitated. He didn't know what the envelopes contained, but the look in the chief's eyes told him not to ask. He thought of his mother, the doctor's bill, the endless prescriptions, and nodded. I'll do it, sir. That night, he carried an envelope to a man in a hotel. The man handed him a wad of cash thicker than anything he had ever seen. His hands trembled as he counted it later in his small room. He could send twice his usual amount home, maybe even enough for the operation the doctor had mentioned. For the first time in months, he smiled. Days turned into weeks. The errands continued. Different faces, same sealed envelopes. He didn't ask questions. He bought better clothes, sent more money home, and even rented a small apartment. Mama's voice over the phone was always filled with hope. Chidi, the medicine is working. I feel alive again. He told her not to worry, that soon she'd move to Lagos and live in comfort. But Lagos's sweetness hides poison in its core. One evening, while delivering another envelope, he met Adaze, Chief Benson's niece. She was beautiful, confident, and spoke with the casual authority of someone used to being obeyed. She laughed easily and called him handsome driver. At first, he avoided her,
but she found ways to keep him around, asking him to take her shopping or to late-night parties. She told him he was too smart to be a driver. "You deserve more, Chidi," she said once, brushing her hand against his. "You're not like these other servants." He blushed, torn between guilt and desire. No woman had ever looked at him that way. Weeks later, when she kissed him, he didn't resist. By the time he realized how deep he'd fallen, it was too late. Adaze had him wrapped around her finger. She introduced him to new friends, rich men who lived recklessly, who drank expensive whiskey and spoke of money like it grew on trees. They liked him, the quiet village boy with an innocent face. One night, one of them, a man named Kola, handed Chidi a brown envelope. "Run this for me, my guy. Same thing you do for your boss. No stress, easy money," Kola said with a grin. Chidi hesitated but took it. The money was too good. He stopped calling home as often. Sometimes he'd forget to send the usual transfer. When Mama called, her voice carried both love and worry. "My son, are you okay? I haven't heard from you." "I'm fine, Mama. Just busy with work," he'd reply quickly, his eyes fixed on Adaze's laughing face across the room. He told himself he'd make it up to her later. But life doesn't forgive neglect. One humid night, as rain lashed against the city, Chidi got a call. "Mr. Chidi, this is Dr. Okpara from Umuahia General Hospital. Your mother is critical. You need to come quickly." His heart froze. "Critical? But I sent money." "She's been skipping medication. She said she didn't want to disturb you." He dropped the phone, trembling. Adaze touched his shoulder. "What's wrong?" "My mother. She's dying." "Then go to her," Adaze said softly, but there was no urgency in her tone, no understanding of what that word, mother, meant. He left that night, driving all the way from Lagos to Umuahia through the storm. His clothes were soaked, his eyes red. When he arrived at the hospital, the world had gone still. She was gone. The nurse handed her a necklace, a simple beaded cross she always wore. "She waited for you," the nurse said gently. She kept saying, "My son promised he'd come." Chidi collapsed beside her bed, clutching her cold hand, sobbing until he couldn't breathe. "I'm sorry, Mama. I promised. I promised." The funeral was quiet. The village women wept softly as they covered the coffin with earth. He stood motionless, the red dust clinging to his trousers, watching as the last shovel of sand fell. When the priest placed a hand on his shoulder, he whispered, "She's at peace, my son." But Chidi felt no peace, only a hollow ache that ate at his soul. That night, he sat alone outside their old house, staring at the stars. The village was silent except for the distant cry of crickets. He took out his phone. Dozens of missed calls, Adaze, Kola, Chief Benson. He ignored all of them. His hands trembled as he opened his mother's last voice note. Her weak voice filled the air. "Chidi, my son, if you ever hear this, remember your promise. Don't let the world take your kindness. It's all I ever wanted from you." He wept till dawn. A week later, he returned to Lagos, not because he wanted to, but because there was nowhere else to go. His room was as he left it, but the air felt heavier. The photo of his mother stared back at him from the wall, accusing and loving all at once. He tried to work again, but something inside him had broken. One evening, while driving the chief, they were stopped by police. "Routine check," one officer shouted, waving a flashlight. The chief's face tightened. "Stay calm," he muttered. The officer searched the car and found a black briefcase in the trunk. When they opened it, bundles of cash spilled out, along with stacks of blank checks. "Sir, what's this?" the officer demanded. The chief glared at Chidi. "It's his," he snapped. "He's been running his own deals." Chidi's mouth fell open. "Sir, no, The chief's voice boomed, drowning him out. "Arrest him." The officers dragged him away, his protest lost in the chaos. The cell was small and dark. The stench of sweat and despair clung to the air. Chidi sat on the concrete floor, his head buried in his hands. He thought of Adaze, but she never came. He thought of the chief, but the man had already bribed his way out of any investigation. The days blurred into each other until one afternoon, a guard came to his cell. "Visitor," he said. Chidi looked up, hope flickering. But when he stepped into the small visiting room, it wasn't Adaze or anyone from Lagos. It was Mr. Okafor, the man who had helped him find the job months ago. His eyes were filled with sadness. "Chidi, what happened to you, my boy?" Chidi's voice cracked. "I just wanted to save her. I thought if I had money, she'd live." Okafor sighed deeply. "You forgot